What is going on, fellas? I don't even know what to say. I am so excited to show you guys this pusher intake kit. We have a 21 tremor here, and we are installing this new upper intake and lower intake manifold. And to complement that, we also have some new intercooler pipes and boots. We have the whole kit. I want to show you guys how to put this on your 2020 and up Ford Powerstrokes 6.7, and I might say they have some great colors. Follow me along and check this out, guys. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for coming back and checking us out. Make sure to hit that like and sub. We are dropping some new 6.7 content. I'm so excited to talk about this intake kit from Pusher. This is really nice. And when I took this out of my client's packaging, I just about fell over because I saw it was blue, and blue is my favorite color. And then he dropped another bombshell on me. We are installing some new intercooler pipes as well. Totally stoked, and going to show you on his tremor how we're gonna put these on. I've already showed you how to take the intake manifolds off on this truck. If you guys remember, I had that 22 with DEF in the fuel system, and I already went over showing how to take all that off. So I'm gonna jump ahead. We're gonna get into that video, show you how to take the intake off. I'm gonna show you how to get these bolts over here. I remove the fuel filter cup that sits here. Way easier to take the intake off, and on top of it, no draining the coolant. Pay very close attention to the coolant line that runs over your intake manifold on the stock version, and watch where I place that hose when I take the intake manifold off. No coolant drain necessary, and no need to take off the upper hose either. So we're going to get into it. His truck already has some intercooler pipes on and the stock intake manifold. So we are going to jump, like I said, into the video, showing you how to remove that, and we're going to get to the spot where we need to now put these badass new parts on. All right, guys, here we go. All right, so we are going to be using some silicone spray. It's very important. I'm going to be using this, and I've already went ahead and just sprayed lightly that ring, and we're going to slip this on like this. Went on perfect. I'll try to keep these clamps all nicely fashioned. Bunch of 8 millis. All right. I like that, just checking the gap all the way around. Let me loosen it up real quick. Let's do that one more time, and I'm gonna push on this bottom part, like that. Oh yeah, I like that better. It was just when I tightened it, it must have just jumped a little bit. Okay, looks good. Now the fun part. Check it out. 6.7 ASMR. Look at that blue. What do you think about it? I think it looks awesome. 2 bolts, the supplied bolts with washers. These look like right off the rip 13s, but we will find out here shortly. $13 is it? Yep. You saw how that just torqued up. Don't tighten this clamp until you get these tightened, because you're going to see exactly what it just did. Go ahead and just double check. Give them another snug. I like it. Follow up with this 8 milli right here. Slide this up. Make those in line. Frickin' A. Look at that. Man. Blue's my favorite color. This guy might wind up getting his intake manifold stolen because I'm going to want it for my truck. I like it. That looks really, really nice. Now the CCV box, that is going to come right over here. You guys remember, probably going to put this 23 CCV box on, and you'll see that'll connect, you know, something just like that. So we'll save that for when we get further installed. Now the next part we're going to do is the intake manifold, the upper one, and they have supplied us already with factory looking Ford press-in gaskets. And once we put those gaskets in, like, check it out, it's literally going to go on just like that. So let me pop these gaskets in and we're going to get this thing mocked up. All right, one thing that's real important I want you to not skip. This is the MAP sensor O-ring. It went into the top of your intake manifold. You need to take this O-ring off and replace the O-ring with the one that they gave you, because it is a much more beefier style O-ring. And I wound up putting it in this intake manifold like this, facing downwards, so the connector is going to connect it this way instead of looping over the intake manifold. So we already have the gaskets installed on both of them. I'm going to pull out these paper towels. And this is the pusher intake manifold kit for your 6.7 Powerstroke. The front section down, we have this foot under here, and we have to use their supplied spacer. And I'm not going to use the factory long bolt. I'm going to actually use one of the bolts that secured the lower intake down. Put that through the foot, through the spacer, and I'm going to tighten that down by hand, obviously, because I need to get the bolts installed in the back. But we have a nice space, a nice gap right between here. Thread all of these bolts in by hand. All right, that looks slick. I like it. I think I'm going to tighten this 10 mil first. Now these are not lug nuts, so you just saw what I did. I tightened it and then just give it just another little snug. Or you can bust out the torque wrench. Go for this back one. And we're snug. And then this one I'm gonna have to feel for. Well, that one's kind of a buzzard. Snug. And this one's going to be kind of tricky. All right, that freaking looks good. I like it. Turned out nice. The coolant line, I'm gonna have to tell my customer he's gonna have to do something with this coolant line because I don't know if he's gonna want this just flopping over the intake manifold. But we're gonna need to secure some of this other stuff. I'm gonna have to put the fuel cup back on because the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be installing some pusher hot and cold side charge tubes. So let me get the throttle valve back on. Here's the throttle body. Use the factory bolts and the gasket that they provide you, and then this is literally just going to bolt right exactly how the factory one did. Bunch of 8 millis. Now, don't want to forget to plug it in. The electrical connector. Plug that in. Okay. And now, I'm going to kind of just mock this up. This is how the coolant line is going to be sitting on here. I can dig it. I can dig it. We're going to be putting the little itty bitty pipe from the EGR cooler. Remember, it went into the intake this way. Pusher now has the pipe going this way, and you're going to actually flip the pipe around, and the electrical connector is going to go right into the lower intake where they left you a hole for the electrical connector locating tab. So it went in the truck like this. Now they want you to go like this, and the electrical connector and everything, you know, it would look like this. So definitely different setup than what Ford has, and I don't know, looks a hell of a lot better too. I'm gonna get ready for the charge pipes. All right, intake is on, obviously. Fuel system, filter, everything's good to go. One thing we had to do on this particular truck was because we were not using the mounting point on the dipstick for the front side, I had to cut it off because the HSM upper would not allow enough clearance through here. So we got enough clearance now. This isn't wiggling around that it's drastically causing an issue, but check it out. All the fuel lines are connected. Last couple of steps we're doing is putting the hot side pusher charge pipe on. Now once you've taken the old one off, pusher has a quick disconnect part that you are going to use the factory clip off of the turbo side. So be careful when you pop that clip out because you're going to be reusing it. And silicone spray is a must. You need silicone spray inside here. And what we're going to do is, I've already mocked this up. I'm going to push this down onto the turbo, but first we're going to tighten this clamp so that we don't have to get any tools down here. This is 11 milli. All right, that's nice and tight. So now we're going to put this right here, and it should clip right onto the turbo. Let me put a little lube in here. Push this onto the turbo. Boom. That is a certified click. I can dig that. Got the pusher emblem logo facing upwards. Here's the other end of the pipe. It's going to be sitting in here like this. I'm going to spray some silicone on this side, but if you notice the two different sections in here, you want the small section of weld going to the intercooler and the big section of weld going to the turbo. This is the angulation that it needs when it goes onto the truck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide that pusher pipe all the way onto here, so when I go to push this in, I can slide that boot right down over on our intercooler. All right, man. I appreciate you, man. All right, I'm gonna slide this clamp down in here as far as I can go. Now, I am not joking about the silicone needed to push these things on, because it is a real deal. So how am I gonna want these? Probably the clamps sitting like this. Clamps over the boot this way, because I'm gonna have to slide the boot onto the intercooler, which is gonna be kind of tough. Okay, that went on. Push that in further, and you see this pretty much lined up right away. And I'm more or less just gonna pull the boot towards me onto the intercooler. Ugh. Wow. These are really tight. Is that enough? Definitely not enough. Oh my gosh. See, I like the way this is. All right, I like the way this is. I'm gonna move these clamps out of the way. And so I think what I'm gonna do, I like the way this is sitting.
It's a lot of head, but
I like the way this is sitting. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tighten this clamp now. Go ahead and tighten this 11 mil clamp. I like this fashion of how it's attaching, but in meantime, I need to get, or we need to get this farther down onto the intercooler. We have quite a gap here. I need to slide the boot farther down off the duct. And these pipes are tight. I'm telling you guys right now, ain't no joke. I am sweating. There we go. We are all the way down. And I like the engagement of the pipe in the silicone boot. See if we can get one of these all the way down. Have to loosen it up a little bit, because they are definitely tight. Just did was I took the nut off and then just went around that giant lip of the intercooler and tightened it. Like it. Next one. This one should be a no-brainer. So we're not fighting any lip because we're on the inside of the lip. I'm gonna put the clamps the same way. I'm gonna try to have the same amount of rubber sticking out. I dig it. All right. hot side pipe. Jeez Louise. That looks sweet, and it is stout. That thing is not coming off. It looks glorious. Check it out. Get all those fingerprints off. My mug. I think that looks sweet. I can't wait for the cold side. All right, cold side pipe time. This is the only angled one that you have. Small side, intercooler, big side, pipe. Small side, intercooler, big side pipe. It's only gonna go on a certain way, otherwise you're gonna be fighting it. I've loosened this clamp. Let's go as... I'm gonna put a couple threads on there. And I'm gonna put the clamp like this. And I'm gonna shove this thing down here, trying to get onto the intercooler. And it went right on. I'll wait to tighten it. Actually, I think I'll just snug it down a little bit so it's not as floppy, because it just turned and fell right over. I did put a lot of silicone on this one. Okay, it's on there. It's gonna kind of hold the boot up so it doesn't flop around on us, but we'll get this out of the way. And now we have this section of the pipe. You're gonna take the charge air cooler temperature sensor out of the old cold side pipe, and it's just a 90-degree turn, and Pusher sends you with the kit a little spacer retainer metal piece that fastens to the pipe and holds the sensor right into the pipe. Looks really nice. And now I'm going to spray this down with some silicone. The clamp that went onto the intercooler was the smallest clamp. If you notice right here, this is 325. The other one was a 200 number, and it only went around the small end of the rubber boot. I'm going to loosen this one up. Loosen this up. I'm gonna slide this onto the boot, and then we're gonna push the pipe down into the boot. I'm gonna install the clamp like this, and then I'm gonna install the pipe. Okay, that went inside there. I'm gonna loosely put that there. Over here on the bench we have two last pieces, and a big clamp and another small clamp. I'm gonna silicone this all up. And I'm going to use the clip that came out of my factory charge pipe. I want this split at the top in case we ever have to take it off. I'm going to match the slit up with the pusher emblem. All right, that looks good. Slide this clamp, because I want this at the top. I'm gonna put this off to the side. Gonna kind of do something like this, right on the edge of it. Then we can slide this onto the pipe, keep this clamp like this, and we're gonna go ahead and slide this right onto the pipe. And I'm gonna slide it farther in so that we can make this bend. Looks like I got the right angulation. Slide that right on, just like the factory connection. That sounded official. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and tighten. This now. We'll put that clamp on the inside by the upper hose. Now this is definitely a snug fit. I'm trying to get the same amount of rubber boot sticking out, but I have a feeling as soon as I tighten it, it's gonna slide right off. All right, that did slide off. Go ahead and put this one on. Maybe that won't slide back on me.
Push it forward a little. There you go.
All right. I'm gonna leave this one like this, I think. I'll leave it like that. Okay, I'm tightening the inside clamp. All right, now I'm gonna give that a big push. See what happens. It's totally sliding off, isn't it?
I'm about to bring that pretty damn close to that ring, huh?
I think so. More?
I mean, you can go a little bit more.
I think that's as good as it's gonna get. All right, we really struggled with this connection here. What I wound up doing was pushing this on to the throttle adapter as hard as I could. And I mean, we were pushing hard. I feel if this was a little longer, it may have not wanted to make the clamp walk off because we were fighting this lip on the throttle body. So every time we went to tighten it, the clamp wanted to roll right off the silicone. But I finally got it up high enough and held it where when we tightened it, now I can see rubber on the outside of the clamp because I was worried that we were gonna have some sort of boost leak. All right, I'm gonna tighten this one now. I will tell you one thing, that these pipes do not move whatsoever. They are taut, and they're not moving nowheres. I'm gonna do something like that. I mean, look at this thing. It ain't moving nowhere. We don't even have these tightened yet. I'm gonna try to reach my paw down in here, and I'm going to get this clamp. Where's it at? There it is. Definitely a bugger. Holy frijoles. I'm gonna have to take the nut off this one and slide it up. I should have slid it onto the pipe first. Let's see. Sliding it up, trying to get over the lip of the pipe. Got the clamp all the way spread. All right. I'm gonna put the nut back on the clamp now. The silicone spray makes for a real slippery session here. All right, I like this clamp. I like the way that is. I'm gonna go for a wobble, a universal here, so I can get this angle. I'll show you what I mean. And I'm gonna try to go right through here. And then we're gonna tighten it. Rest assured, these clamps are not coming off. They are on there. Spin this clamp around, go right up, go right down, right next to the other one. And there we go. We'll tighten this one. That's right to the intercooler. And that, my friends, is the completion of installing the pusher intake kit onto your 2020 Plus Superduty. One of the last things we're going to be putting on is the vacuum line. Now, if you did drain the coolant, please make sure you get the right coolant and fill it up to factory specifications. Tell me what you guys think of this on a 21 6.7 Powerstroke diesel pusher intake kit and charge pipes. I'm liking the blue. Pusher, we love you. All right, you guys, tell me what you think. Remember to like, comment, sub, share, and I'll catch you guys all next time. See ya.